right. Hello out there in Packer Nation, and welcome to another edition of the Absolute Packer Podcast. We're on episode number 54 here, the last of the offseason, just a few days away from Packers versus Bears at Soldier Field. I've tentatively titled this episode, Hold On to Your Butts. And the reason for that is I really don't know what to expect. I think a lot of Packer fans and a lot of people don't know what this team is quite yet, which is, I guess, to be expected a little bit. You got a brand new head coach, brand new system, lots of new players, lots of new turnover. So, like Samuel Jackson said in Jurassic Park, hold on to your butts. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my other cohorts. I am Andrew Hetzel. I provide the comic relief. I guess that's the main thing I do. Hopefully, I add some other value somewhere. Jeremy Hautala and Elliot Christensen. What's up, boys?
Let's get this game on. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm a little psyched.
Yeah.
I'm
Bear
a little
week,
psyched.
baby.
It's Bear
Yeah.
Week, yeah.
So you saw did you see the preview ad that they put out with Brett Favre?
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's good.
I thought it was
I mean,
hilarious.
it was
Some of
hilarious.
it was kind of stupid, but a lot of it was really, the best part was when he throws the speaker at the very end and it freaking gets intercepted by the bird.
intercepted.
That was really good. I have
Hey,
to.
you gotta
say
give
that
it to
was
him.
good.
Oh, that
And I
was-
mean, at least Favre is to the point now where he can make fun of himself
Right.
on national commercial levels or whatever too. So that's good.
honestly, I'll say this. I've seen a lot of skits that are very similar to this. Packer fans have a better sense of humor than Bear fans. They truly do. I mean, only
Bear
Packer
fans are delusional. We know.
Only, yeah, they are. I mean, only Packer fans can laugh at themselves like they did in this montage that was, with Favre in it and stuff. I mean, there was some pretty good rips on Packer fans there. I laughed at every single one of them, and that's all you can do. It was good humor.
Yeah. No, it was good. I think it's interesting to have, like, think about, I mean, it was almost 10 years ago, but Favre, actually it was 10 years ago, Favre falling out of graces and now he's back in chumming it up.
Yeah.
It's
It's good.
interesting to see that. And yeah. So, and the whole Ditka, what is that name of those, that sketch? That's from Saturday Night Live, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but geez, Louise, I like when they put the instead of bread, two buns, they had 2 pieces of fried chicken,
Fried chicken.
and then they saw like a carrot, and they're like, "Get that out of here!"
It's a carb load.
Yeah, that's why, like a carb monster or something. It was a carrot. It was ridiculous. So
It was good.
humor always works. I don't care what anybody says; it always works.
No doubt.
So I think we're going to try and do, a somewhat abbreviated one. We wanted to get podcast. We wanted to get one in before the start of the season because obviously, you had the roster got trimmed down the other day to the final 53. A lot has happened since they started doing that, and there was even some things that came across the looks like the waiver wire or on social media or just some other news just a couple, like 20 minutes ago. So without further ado, I guess, I was thinking we could either go down every, guy who's on the roster, or we can kind of look at things in more general positions and whatnot. I think it's probably in our best interest just to do that, to keep it somewhat simple rather than go through all, 53 players and whatnot. But
We're not gonna go through all 53 players.
yeah,
are we?
Yeah.
it's
I'm
not
gonna write a
if
blog.
you guys are
about
gonna do that,
so.
it's gonna, I don't know, I might have to put a dummy in this chair and walk away. It's past my bedtime, as you guys know. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess, Jeremy's as close to the roster and as anybody. What are your thoughts on the final cut down, the waiver wire pickups and stuff like that?
Very underwhelming. I mean, I had a really tough time initially getting a 53-man roster set just because I didn't have enough players, honestly, that I wanted. I was stuck at 47, and guys like Fidel Brown, I did not even have him in the realm of the conversation. I didn't have Kadar Holman. I just didn't think he showed much in the preseason, and there were just so many underwhelming picks to the roster that it just didn't excite me. There wasn't. We had one pickup yesterday with B.J. Goodson, the linebacker from the Giants, who came over. That was a great pickup.
It was.
We needed somebody there. We are one injury away from having a safety play a linebacker.
You're not kidding.
That's scary. And also a rookie linebacker as well. We're very, very short in the inside linebacker position. So that was a good pickup, and we pretty much traded 7th-round draft picks. It sounds like we flip-flopped. They get
McRae.
It sounds like they got for Goodson.
I'm sorry.
They flip-flopped picks, and they're going to get the pick that we received from Baltimore last year for Ty Montgomery. So it's going to be like probably a 10-position flip between the picks. So, I mean, really, for a guy that would have gone through waivers and we were able to pick him up for a 7th-round draft pick, well worth it. I wish we'd make more moves like that because this roster truly does need it. I mean, the 53-man roster, there's just, besides Rodgers and Devontae Adams, David Bakhtiari, and Kenny Clark.
It's a pretty big drop-off after that. There's a lot of guys. I don't know. I hate to say it, but, collectively speaking, my thought is...
Guys is the derogatory term.
At Jags. You want me to say Jags, don't you?
Well, I mean, you know what? Because this is a very rapidly growing podcast, we may have new viewers along the way, new listeners.
So I have to explain to them the term Jag? Just another guy.
I think you do.
Just another guy.
Yeah, you don't want to...
It does not stand for Judge Advocate General.
You have to bring people along on the inside jokes.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. I wouldn't call it inside joke. It's more or less just like social media vernacular. I see a bunch of other guys using it too, but easier to say than just a guy, I guess. To Jeremy's point, it's, outside of the big four there, what we say is Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Bakhtiari, and Kenny Clark. There's a pretty big drop off in talent after that at the collective positions. There's some younger players that may take the leap, but who knows? And you got a new scheme, new head coach. There's so much unknown, going into this game. I can't put I predicted 8-8, but that was, where did that come from? Gut feel, and that was a couple months ago before, this roster was even set now, and it's not like it's become really any clearer, barring injury. I'm still picking probably 8-8. But hey, 100th anniversary and national TV game against the Bears. That's a great way to start, no doubt. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna see what the heck Aaron Rodgers is without McCarthy. All these different other kind of questions are gonna get answered too. The what ifs, like who made who and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna see how good Luke Fleur. Is he a whiz kid, kind of like Sean McVay, or is he, is he in over his head? Who knows?
Honestly, I'll just add a little bit. For me, predicting their record this year was pretty easy. It wasn't so much on the fact that I knew what the Packers were going to be. I knew what they were going up against. Philadelphia, Dallas, Kansas City, San Diego. Those are tough games, and I don't see us physically.
Seems like we have a tough schedule.
We have I think it's the third toughest schedule based off of previous year's record last year.
On paper going in,
yeah. And we have another 2-game stretch in Kansas City at San Diego, just like last year when we played the Rams in New England. Deathly. And I just don't see us having a chance in either one of those games. And that's what I predicted in my season. I have them going 9-7 and just barely missing the playoffs in the last, losing to Minnesota in the second to last game, which pretty much sealed their fate. But Philadelphia at home, that's a tough one. And then Philadelphia is going to be 3 days after we have Denver. So we have 3 days of plan for Philadelphia, who's going to be a Super Bowl contender. And then we go to Dallas. Tough stretch there as well. I just don't see how we stack up well against those teams, especially Dallas. Physically, I just don't think that we have the ability to stop the run. We'll see if that changes. But for me, it was a lot easier to predict just because I knew what we were going up against, and the talent was night and day between those types of teams that I just mentioned.
I agree. When you look at, especially Philadelphia, Kansas City. Off the top of my head, those two teams, it's ridiculous. They're on another tier, maybe in the whole league, let alone the Packers. But if you compare rosters, Packers still got a ways to go. I still maintain that they're essentially in a mini rebuild. They're not calling it that, but they're purging a lot of Ted's later crummy drafts. They're getting rid of an old scheme and all these things. You can't do it in a season. There's no way. It's hard to do it in two. So this is, you could call this maybe year 3 of it, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, let's hop into what the roster looks like. So we'll start with quarterback. DeShone Kizer was cut in favor of Tim Boyle. I mean, Kizer, that was a failed experiment. They traded Demarius Randall for Kizer.
That was the right move.
Randall's basically a starting safety, changes position to what it should have been. The Packers, they obviously they saw a lot of potential in Kizer, but Kizer wasn't set up very well coming into the league, let alone coming into the Packers. But Boyle, I'm telling you, I mean, let's put it this way. So they're carrying 2 quarterbacks. If Rodgers, look, I honestly don't know if Tim Boyle could get a first down against an NFL defense. I'm not talking about like move the chains. I'm talking about I don't know if he could get a first down against the NFL defense.
I would agree. And I mean, they also have a quarterback in the practice squad, rookie Manny Wilkins. So we have 3 unproven young quarterbacks that have never played it down in the NFL. Have never played it down in the NFL. Yeah. So when they get thrown into the mix, the Wolves are going to be pouncing on them. And I just don't see how either, Tim Boyle or even Manny Wilkins has a chance this year.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I saw the Patriots release Brian Hoyer, I was like, jump on that. I don't care what you pay him.
Did you see the numbers he got though for the Colts? Oh my God.
$9 million guaranteed. Whew.
$12 million for 3 years for a freaking backup. I mean, is that the going rate? I don't. Yes. I guess it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Teams that want to have a good backup, that's the going rate. You know, we have been starved of a good backup probably since Matt Flynn. So like we talked about last episode. So we are. You know what? And I know there was a few people on Twitter that were saying this, that they're so sick and tired of hearing that this team is solely placed on Aaron Rodgers being healthy. It's the absolute truth. If he goes down, season's done. Put a fork in it. Yeah. There is nobody that can come in and duplicate the success that Aaron Rodgers has, and it's definitely not Tim Boyle. And it's definitely any free agents that are out there that are worthwhile. Brock Osweiler, there's just nobody out there.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. If any starting quarterback for any decent team goes down, their season is basically in the crapper too. We aren't alone in that respect, but we are probably the most quarterback top-heavy team in the league still. So, other teams would suffer greatly, but we would suffer the most, I guess is the best way to put it.
Philadelphia?
They only won a Super Bowl with their backup.
Yeah, and they lost Foles this offseason. They're going with I think it's Nate Sudfeld, who's played before. He's actually played an NFL game, so it's not like they're going to an undrafted nobody in Tim Boyle. And I don't mean to say that about Tim Boyle. It's just he hasn't proven anything. And
he is who he is,
If given the chance, I will be glad to eat crow, and if he does well.
Yeah. He could be great someday. Yeah.
I would love to eat crow on all these guys, but
exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. So that's QB. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I got to think at some point they're going to have a third QB, but who the hell knows? I mean, more roster moves could potentially be made, between now and then. So and I just kind of rattled off here. These go a little bit out of order for position-wise, but Darius Shepard made the roster over Allen Lazard. Until about a half an hour ago, where I see here that tight end Jay Sternberger, the rookie tight end, got placed on IR, and they already elevated Lazard from the recently signed practice squad to the 53-man roster. So does that mean they have 7 wide receivers now?
It does. I also heard the rumor that somebody else was looking to sign him to the 53-man roster. In Lazard? That respect, yes. Don't know who. It's a rumor. But if they were going to sign him to the 53-man roster, this put the Packers in a position to bring him up to the roster. And then Jay Sternberger is going to be out for multiple weeks. So this works out well in that respect. This protects them from a team picking him up.
If we're worried about somebody picking up Allen Lazard, that's a problem, in my opinion. If we had to make this move because we were scared someone was going to grab him, I hope that's not the reason, because that reeks of kind of desperation. But
Well, we truly we don't know what he is, though. I mean, we've seen him in the preseason. We have not seen
you're
him.
talking
in the
about Sternberger or Lazard?
Lazard.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm with you. I mean,
he's an undrafted free agent. If he's so coveted, I just don't buy that.
Right.
Maybe he was. Maybe someone was going to sign
the link from the gentleman from Over the Cap. I can't remember his name. The roster analysis in the NFL today is made up of 30% of undrafted free agents. 30% of the league is made up of undrafted free agents.
I would love to know, though, what percentage the Packers are relative to the rest of the NFL, and then I would also love to know my other favorite team, what their percentage is relative to the NFL. That would be the Patriots.
Well, do you want to? I mean, we could just do the countdown right now. We have 1, 2.
No, I followed the link. It was on Twitter. Somebody showed the Packers.
4, 5, 6.
Packers,
7,
let me put this. In the past, the Packers pride themselves, and even in the more so in the previous regime, the Ted, Mike, let's say, they always prided themselves on the amount of undrafted free agents that made the team. And at first, after the success of, say, like a Sam Shields or a Tramon Williams, you're going, okay, that makes some sense. You guys know what you're doing, but those were the only two that were worth a damn. I mean, the other undrafted free agents, you'd hear all this hype, and then they'd be nothing. So you could argue that the only homegrown white undrafted free agent that the Packers have ever had that was worth anything was Shields. Everybody else was at best a guy. So
well, right now their roster is configured with 11 undrafted free agents out of 53. I don't know the number. The math off of my head doesn't equal 30%. They're less than that. So
what's the Patriots? I'd love to know that.
I don't know. I was actually going to do a little roster analysis of every team in the league after week 1 and just see how the starters were configured. I mean, because if I do the roster, it's going to be the same thing as what I just reported. But I want to see what starters are going to be. That would be interesting.
I got you. Okay. So next I have here, Packers traded for inside linebacker Darius Shepard from the Giants. Hallelujah. Now, it's not like they traded for Luke Kuechly or something like that. They traded for a decent, average, veteran back inside linebacker, which is all that we could ask for and all that's basically available at this point.
Yep.
And thank God they did it, because they desperately needed it. They had a cardboard cutout next to Blake Martinez, basically an inside linebacker. It had to be done. I honestly didn't think it would get done. I don't think Ted would have made that move. I think he would have just rode with the horses he had. But Gutekunst, to his credit, brought somebody in from the outside and made a trade. So, kudos. Again, is this going to put them over the hump? No. Should it have been done, and did it need to be done? Yes.
Agreed. I think a lot of people, including us, have said that Gut does not make enough moves, but at least he's making more moves than Ted Thompson ever did.
Oh God,
and that's all I can ask for.
Yeah,
I tend to agree.
I would like more. I mean, I would definitely like them to go out and get the Brian Hoyers of the world, but sometimes that's not feasibly responsible. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, he's made more moves than Ted, quality over quantity. I guess it somewhat remains to be seen. But this move, I'm not going to argue with on any way, shape, or form. This was a move that was crying out loud to be made, and he made it. So it was a little bit late. I would have liked to have seen it done even sooner in the preseason, but hey, it got done. So Sam Ficken got cut. The other kicker. So now we're rolling with Crosby. I mean, that was a dog and pony show. Did anybody really think Sam Ficken was going to be the kicker?
I did.
We had a hashtag.
Frickin' Ficken.
Oh God, that's right.
Honestly,
Crosby carries the biggest cap number of any kicker in the league. It's insane.
You know what? I mean, for real, to free up the possibility for some other flexibility, I think it would have been good. I mean, other teams, I don't know, like how much of a difference? Like, let's say that Crosby has
what
an
percentage of
teams?
Year. Yeah, riddle me this: what teams plural would have cut Crosby after he missed 4 field goals in one game?
They might not have cut him right away, but I think parting ways at the end of the season would have been fine.
I think half the teams in the league might have cut him after the game. That's what teams think of kickers generally, not the Packers though. I'm not.
We have to remember too. These guys are human. They're going to have really bad days, including Aaron Rodgers. They're going to have bad days.
Sure.
He missed 4 field goals. I will fully admit that was inexcusable, but he has been a clutch kicker in his 13-year career. He has kicked more field goals in clutch situations than we've had since Chris Jackie. You know what? Who is better? It all comes down to who's better out there. There truly wasn't anybody better.
I would argue this. If it came down to they're about the same, then it's salary, and he's making way too much.
Right, but there was nothing out there the same.
You could argue Ficken would be no worse, but he's a lot less money.
Yeah.
But he's also under 70%.
He's under 70%.
And Crosby's over 80. So
that's an issue. All right, enough about kickers.
Right.
Moving on.
Hopefully for the season, right?
Yeah, really.
You can just be like, that's an automatic. Done.
Yes.
Jamon Moore, second-year draft pick, Gutekunst's first draft, he got cut. I don't think that was terribly surprising. He didn't have a very good camp. He was dropping passes left and right again. I mean, I guess if anything, Gutekunst has shown a little bit, maybe not as much as we'd think, that he's willing to cut his own guys and cut them relatively quickly. What round was Jamon Moore? Do you know what round he was drafted in, Jeremy?
4th round.
Okay. That's decently high.
Yeah, it is.
But again, he wasn't very good last year, and he wasn't any better this year. So, and they got with the other wide receivers competing for spots, it was just kind of a numbers game, I guess.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then rookie tight end Jay Sternberger. I read about this when I was putting the notes together in the early evening tonight. He was put on IR, and I guess the corresponding move was Allen Lazard. We talked about it briefly before. Allen Lazard, who was just signed, did make the 53, got signed to the practice squad, was now brought up in place of Sternberger. Who knows if this is some kind of conspiracy theory to get Allen Lazard and get him on the 53. But Sternberger didn't have much of a wow preseason. He was hurt a lot of the time, and then I don't know if you guys saw the way he got tackled in that last game.
Yeah.
It looked pretty nasty. It was weird. It was just weird with his hip and his knee at the same time, and I almost thought that he did something way worse. So is this going to be one of those IR with designation to return? I don't know.
No, I think with him, he is better off. The only bad thing with being on injured reserve is he can't practice. That's detrimental to his development. That will hurt him.
Tight end is such a hard position going from college to the NFL. It's like night and day. You need all the experience in practice you can get. So I don't think he's coming back.
No, that's the thing that the Packers have to weigh. If he cannot practice for a very long time, keep him on IR. He can do all kinds of things off the field. It might not be the same as replicating, live reps in practice, but so be it. It is what it is. Receiver, Allen Lazard, he's going to have more of an impact than Jay Sternberger would. So I see the corresponding move, and I agree with it.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because, he was an intriguing pick, and he looked pretty darn good in college. But again, I would say tight end is one of those positions where, unless you're a Gronk and you're a generational talent, typically these guys take years, plural, to develop at tight end in the NFL. It's just so unfortunate, but not terribly surprising. Okay, that's kind of the line items I have for the roster. Obviously there were some other roster moves made, but is there really much else to discuss? I don't really think so, unless you guys, speak now or forever hold your peace, I guess.
I was honestly shocked, not just because it happened, but because it did happen, was when they pretty much cut and then traded Justin McCray. I thought he was a roster, not lock, but he was a pretty good bet to make the team.
And they traded him for 7th, 6th, or what?
7th, yeah.
He was undrafted, right?
Yes, he was.
So they got a pick. It's almost like they got a pick for a guy who was undrafted.
And I think that's good value.
Yeah, it is.
If you get somebody off the street and you get a pick for him, that's a coup, Yeah. So no problem.
It might have been as simple as that. We're like, okay, we got a little bit more than what we normally, would have got. But
Well, and see,
it
teams
also
what
shows
they
how much they didn't value him, being a backup or I don't know.
no, and see what teams do, like the Packers, what they did with B.J. Goodson. They know the league better than anybody, and they know most likely that if he were to get waived by the Giants, he probably wouldn't have made it to the 12th waiver wire where the Packers were sitting. They had the hunch that they weren't going to be able to get him, so they just traded a pick away. And that's how it works. If you have a good hunch that the waiver wire is not going to make it to you, you go and trade for the player then. And
That's
that's
true.
what happened with Justin McCray as well, going to Cleveland. Green Bay East.
Yeah, no doubt, because of Dorsey, that whole connection. It's obviously what that is. All right. So this is kind of funny, but Matt LaFleur is getting tired of the media narrative about Aaron Rodgers and his ability to audible at the line in a new offensive system. It appears that today he got a little testy, which is funny because it wasn't testy at all. But the very blasé and I would say conservative Green Bay beat writing media took it as
they said he was testy about it.
Yeah, and
because he said, "What do you want me to say?"
And so,
what do you truly want me to say?
Could you imagine if
Wow, I would love to know how they would react to any of us.
New York media versus Green Bay media. Like these are the heavy hitting.
Yeah.
It strikes me as not
much ado about nothing.
Whatever. I think all I want them to do is get the right, correct play out there. Whether if they have 6 options to change and they allow Rodgers to do it on one play and he picks the 6th and correct one that is an audible, I don't care. Who cares?
Right.
So, but it's just kind of funny. It's more of a reflection on the, I hate to say it, but the kind of the local sports beat writing that they, this brand new coach who's, making a big stink about whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Come on.
Move on, move forward.
I agree.
Seriously.
But it was kind of silly.
You know what? Winning does away with all of those things.
You're not kidding.
Right on.
Let's put some W's on the board.
No doubt. No doubt.
Unlike you naysayers, I'm picking a W for this week.
Well, you know what? I don't know what I'm picking. I mean, this is a pick'em game, damn near. It's like I could see them getting blown out. I could see them blowing the Bears out. I could see it a close game. I mean, I have no clue what this first game's going to be. No clue.
Packers in a close one. It's an away game, but I think the Packers can win it.
I think they can.
I'm always bullish on the Packers, man.
Gun to my head, I think the Bears will, but the Packers, I think it's.
Well, I'm not going to put a gun to your head, so Packers.
That's a good bumper sticker. Good, absolute Packer bumper sticker. I'm not going to put a gun to your head, so Packers.
Packers. Go Packers.
Nice. All right. Now, the last bullet I have here is just about that Bear game in general. And it's just, I've been seeing that, basically the Vegas odds have the Bears winning this, but it's closer. I want to say it's what last I saw was it 3, something like that. But basically Vegas still
just home field.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, I mean, Vegas still respects the hell out of Rodgers, is what that means, because brand new coach, brand new system, but the constant there is you have, what many claim to still be a top flight quarterback. I still think he is, but
he is, but the gentleman on the other side is not. Trubisky is not there yet. So we'll see what he is this year in his 3rd year. I don't see him being much more than what he is,
Well, but and there have been changes on the Bears side too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have Fangio anymore.
Right. New running back field. New offensive lineman. I can't remember if it's a left guard or right guard, but yeah, I mean, they're Chuck Pagano. The biggest difference would be Chuck Pagano, the defensive coordinator,
versus Fangio. Yeah,
Fangio was a hell to go against, and every coach has admitted that. So
well, there's also they got Clinton Dix, so we might be in a world of hurt. Yikes!
I can't even laugh at that. It's so stupid.
That's funny. Well,
Sorry.
I mean, that's essentially what we got. This is, like I said, this was kind of an abbreviated, look at the roster, getting ready for Packer Bear Week. Just to kind of throw it out there again, I put together on the APP, Facebook page, and it's also on the website. I put together a really cool Green Bay Packers wallpaper for your phone or your device that basically celebrates opening of the season in Bear Week. I encourage you guys, fans, and whoever else to check it out. It's pretty neat. It's pretty silly, but it's also pretty. It's actually going to be the image for this podcast when we share it out too.
Nice.
So, yeah, on the site when I put in the content and I put in the placeholder image, I uploaded that as the image.
Oh, you did.
Nice.
Okay. Did.
Yeah.
Yes, did.
Okay.
Nice.
I see that.
So.
All right.
And then the other thing I think we should discuss a little bit is, and I'm going to defer to Elliot at this a little bit, is Slack. We have a new online, I guess, tool community, if you will. We're on primarily Facebook. I mean, we have our website, but we're primarily on Facebook. We don't have much of a Twitter following. I guess we'll have to debate to see what we do there, but it's primarily Facebook. But we've started our own. Is it a channel? Is that what they call it, a Slack channel?
It's a weird terminology because like the individual items are sometimes called channels too. So
they're more like hashtags on channels.
Yeah. So let's call it a channel. So people can access it. They can sign up to the invite link. It's absolutepacker.com/Slack, which is sort of a tongue twister. But if you go to absolutepacker.com/Slack, that will redirect you to the appropriate slack.com sign up link. And then you can just sign up there. And I don't even think you need to be approved. You're just automatically added and you can you're signed up into all these sub channels. And we have a little game time chat when we're watching the game. That was a blast.
Yep. And we're going to continue to use that, obviously. And I think it's kind of
we had a few people join us already, which is great. I didn't expect anybody to join us, even if it was just like the three of us. I thought like I have fun just that. So
I hear you.
If anybody joins us, that's super bonus to me.
It's like our own little private social network for Absolute Packer is maybe the best way to put it. So I would encourage people to go out there and check it out and follow the threads, especially the game day one. We're going to post stuff to Facebook and through the website to continue to do that, but we're also going to integrate in Slack a lot more. So yeah.
I will admit that now that the regular season has started, I'm going to have to refrain from talking or chatting a lot during the game because I totally lost track of the game yet last week. I was in the third quarter and I'm like, wait a second, Crosby just missed a field goal or a PAT, and Elliot's like, yeah, and so I'm going to have to refrain from talking too much because I lose train of thought and I lose track of the game. So
you can use Slack on your phone.
I was slacking with the game, and that was the problem.
Well, it's fine.
You gifted it like that. He sold it well with that one. You gifted it fine.
Yep.
I don't know.
No.
I was doing my laptop. It was, I don't know. Maybe I'm used to it.
Yeah, I use my phone. I mean, because I look at it. I mean, I actually, it has a feel like Twitter a little bit. In that the feed comes down pretty quick, pretty condensed. It's got the hashtags.
But it's just on the topic you're talking about.
Exactly.
You don't get the noise of Twitter. Like
exactly.
You don't get,
it's like your own little private social network.
You're not getting people posting about Trump saying something stupid.
This is true. Yeah. But it kind of works similar to that in the way the interface, how it flows through, and it's nice. I like it. So I'm gonna use it on my phone during the regular season for sure and whatnot. So
awesome. Yeah.
And
if anybody's at the game and they want to join the Game Time Slack and post some photos from the game, that's cool.
That's true. You can post tons of stuff. You can post links. You can upload documents.
Yeah.
It's like we run a freaking corporation. You can upload things, photos and stuff like that. GIFs. I love animated GIFs.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah. So that's it.
All right.
Go back, go. Come on, let's do this.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Let's do this.
Woo!
Cool. See you.
podcast.
I know, right?